Sir, what should the college grads know before joining a company?
What's your interest, where you want to explore? So any company, it's the end of the day business, right? You need to come with the pre-mind of
Oh no, I want to become developer. Why I landed here?
have a almost equal opportunity perform or to excel or to demand.
Like, okay, you are getting double salary, just move up.
5 years, I want to start a company. I want to run it by myself.
Why this layoffs is happening?
End of the day, everything is driven by business.
The job openings are increasing at that speed.
And we have to accommodate providing education and employment.
How to become a good software engineer?
Industry doesn't respect what you have done. Industry respects what you are going to do.
Hi everyone, this is your host Shubham. I'm very excited to start this podcast series, and today we have very special guest, the Director of Engineering at Cisco, Mr. Satya Danda. So hi sir,
Hi Shubham.
कैसे हो आप?
Good, nice, doing well, and I hope you are also doing well.
Yes, sir. Sir, before directly jumping into the questions, can you please tell us about your journey till now? Basically, the corporate journey.
Yeah, sure. So I have completed my master's in 2000, and I started with a small company, and then I joined HCL working for Cisco in 2003. Since then, I have been directly and indirectly working for Cisco. I directly joined Cisco Bangalore in 2011, and since then, I have been working for Cisco from Bangalore. So in my whole career, I started as a kind of entry level engineer, and then grown to a technical lead and took up the leadership challenges around 2014-15 timeframe. So I think fairly grown enough in this career within Cisco. Now I'm at role of director software engineering and development.
Yeah, that's very inspiring, sir. Sir, this podcast will mainly revolve around the topic what industry are expecting from freshers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, sir, whenever you hear a word fresher, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
So the first thing that comes to my mind is energy and the ability to solve problems which are currently at hand. And academics, like over a period of time, it has grown, it has changed a lot, right? So when we started, we used to boot the system with Flappy, right? So there has been a technology evolution. There has been a lot of infrastructure change in the academics, especially with respect to computer science. Now there has been an infrastructure. You don't need to worry about bits and pieces of how building blocks were done. But now the applicability of the computer science technology to the different areas have spread across. So that's where we see opportunities when freshers come and what kind of projects that they are doing and what kind of technology they're exploring when they're doing academics. That's what we look at how relevant it is for today's problem. That's what we generally, at least I myself, look at and the energy that they bring.
If I'm not wrong, you must involve in some hiring process. So, sir, when resume comes to you, what are the main factors that grabs your attention?
We generally give less. I generally give very less to build some perception about the resume. But it's basically look at his academics and kind of college, and then the kind of percentage to some extent to read how well consistently has been doing in academics. But that will never carry to make an assessment when you're actually talking to a person on the technical assessment. But typically we try to see how well the person could organize things and what kind of skill set he's actually bringing. I focus more on the project and the internships or what kind of industry exposure the candidate has. That's where I focus when I look at resume. But I keep talking to them and make the right assessment.
Sir, what should the college grads know before joining a company?
Yeah, maybe it's about a specific company. Generally, they should read about it. They understand. First of all, what's your interest? Where you want to explore? Maybe you better choose the opportunities which is interesting to you and what company is providing for that. So that is what is important because you will be more excelled when you do something which you like. Obviously, first you need to understand the kind of company that you're looking for. What is the broader spectrum of that company, and what kind of technology that they work on, and what kind of problems that company is solving. Right. So whether it is something relevant to you and kind of it will give you the better experience. So that's what each graduate should look for. Preparing when they are applying for a company or when they are looking for a company.
Okay, sir. Sir, when any interns joins under you, so what are the different factors on which you judge that intern, or what are the expectations that from that intern?
Yeah. Basically, internship versus regular employment is different, right? The way we look at interns is to make sure that they come and they settle, they understand the company culture, and they are going to be part of the team and make sure that they are playing the right role in the team. Uh, the initial assessment is based on how energetic you are and how well you can able to meet and get the things from the team and how well you can kind of mingle with the people and what kind of new things that you want to learn here. Basically, during internship we generally don't expect too much about the outcome or productivity. The objective of providing the internship is to kind of create an environment for the people to make sure that they are experiencing enough. After some time, they become like a regular employee, right? So for that, the initial assessment would be to make sure that they are getting the first hand industry experience and working with the bigger teams, and as a company what kind of things that we are doing here, and basically understand end to end view of it. Maybe during academics your exposure to industry is limited,
Correct.
and internship will provide you the bigger picture of it. So that's what we assess, that's what we see, all these things. Basing on that, when you come and work as a regular employee, you don't see it like a restart, right? It's kind of a continuity kind of thing for you. So you have been already worked with the team, you have been kind of experienced what technology that you're working with, and more or less you will be into that same project. That's what we ensure in general, that the internship organization will try to take and provide the full-time employment as well.
So, sir, when we join as a full-time employee, expectation totally changes. So, suppose if any employee want to stand out from the crowd, then what thing he should do, and what thing he should know actually, so he can stand out from the crowd as general people.
Yeah, absolutely. So any company, it's the end of the day business, right? So obviously, performance based assessment is the key. So whether you are accommodating or you are doing something more than what is expected, that's what generally managers or leads look for. Typically, when you actually start working on a project or an assessment as part of an internship, so what is base expected, minimum thing expected out of it is, okay, whatever the assessment given, what are the expectations set, make sure that you are meeting those expectations, right? And beyond that, what is the value add that you are thinking? It's not like, okay, today probably, you take my example, I studied artificial intelligence 24 years back or 25 years
Okay.
back, right? We had a theory subject
At that time,
at that time, right? I was studying theory on the artificial neural networks,
ANN.
right? ANN.
Uh,
So, but there was no chance for us to practically think any use case which we can apply, whether we are working on that or not, but we can't even think about how this will be applied, where it will be applied. So exactly, there is no use case as such that you can think of,
So
right?
there is no
But
lab.
absolutely, there is no lab, and there is no company actually working on it to make something practical use case out of it. So it's all theory. Maybe the mathematical background people can understand it better. The kind of the learning or the graph theory, all those mathematical modeling and mathematical things to kind of frame purely theory. There is no way that someone can assume or imagine that how this will be practically applied. But over a period of time, it has been changed. Now it's quite impressive to see what we studied 20 to 24 years back, and now something is possible in front of us, and we are all part of it, and we are actually doing that, we are actually working on it. So that is quite amazing. So for us, that the journey was like that. But for the people who are coming new and joining internship, now companies, big companies working on the practical things, how AI can be realized, how AI can simplify everyone's life, how we can kind of automate repetitive things, right? These are all practical projects going on at this moment. So the interns who are working with any company and working in a project, instead of just looking at the assignment, can that be looked at as a bigger thing, and then see that the emerging technologies can be applied? Maybe at least a thought process you can discuss with your mentor or your manager or your director, that okay, hey, this is what I'm working on, that's fine, I understood this is the scope, this is required for the business, but can we also do beyond this? I have my idea, I have my, this is what I studied in my academics, right? And can this be possible, can we make this possible, can I take this and kind of work on it? So that's where the value add comes
Correct.
to a company, essentially converting your academics into the actual practical things industry works, right? So if you can able to bring that deal in terms of pursuing the theory to practical bridge, that's where we people leaders like us will be more excited about and encouraging them. That's where we look for them definitely standing out among the crowd.
So basically, we should keep
Go beyond.
evolving, go beyond,
Go
and
beyond, don't stop, right?
yeah.
So generally the expectations are set on a general basis. Let's say if we get 100 interns, and we have a clear objective or kind of expectations out of those 100 interns in this given year, and what is that we want to drive projects out of it, that is clear objective, that is minimum, right? That's what we have to ensure. But beyond that, certain projects, certain interns will stand out because they will be bringing a value add on top of it, or a differentiation on top of it. So in terms of okay, maybe we may not be thinking at this moment, but you will be thinking basing on your academic experience or your exploration. Sometimes makes sense, sometimes it doesn't make sense from business standpoint, but generally the way it happens is, it may not make sense from a business perspective today, but maybe tomorrow absolutely makes sense, right? So there is nothing to stop thinking about beyond what we are doing today. So we may not do it today, but we definitely do it tomorrow. But the idea, what has been kind of thought through, will always be there, and we will take up whenever we feel that there is a business case associated with it.
Okay. So, sir, this idea should be directly told to our director or to mentorware.
No, you can discuss with anyone. I think, yeah, basically we worked for Cisco. The culture we know, like it's very open culture. You can talk to anyone, though there is a official mentor, official manager, and your organization, but it's not stopping you to discuss only with them. There is no kind of strict hierarchy, but it's like, hey, there is a person to go and you can discuss. In case the person is not available, or he is not kind of spending time because of other business critical things, you can discuss with anyone else in the team. At the same time, you can discuss with managers, you can discuss with directors and anyone. But if you feel something that I want to kind of brainstorm with wider audience, you can go and talk to the entire team. You ask your director to bring everyone onto the board. Hey, I want to discuss 30 minutes. Go and set up a meeting. Hey, this is what it is. This is what practical I think is possible. And can you share your feedback? Right? So that's quite possible. So that's how like you get more exposure. When more people are really try to understand, they can provide more feedback, uh, which might help you to think beyond what initially you thought and you want to present.
Sir, one thing that always come in any fresher's mind, uh, s- should we go towards full stack development or should we go towards AI/ML thing? So this thing very confused because you can't do everything all together. You can't be expert in all. So how to choose this?
I personally don't believe that you have to come with some kind of certifications or some kind of languages broadly learned and full stack developer or a Java developer or
Okay.
Golang developer. I don't think that makes any sense. So, okay, you take for example, we started our academics, and there was the first programming language is Fortran.
Sorry, sir.
Fortran.
Fort.
I'm sure nobody knows about that.
I have also.
The mathematical calculations can be done using a programming language called Fortran, and then Pascal, and then C. These were only the languages that we learned in academics.
Let's see. That I only know
Yeah.
in all this.
So now we are working in industry, in company, from U code to Go code. That means from ASIC to SDK to platform to your operating system services, and then to the application and cloud and everything, right? So what is essential things required is that uh, your problem solving skill, right, and then the applicability of it. All right, you learn anything. Like if you know the Python, that's good enough. That's what exactly the question that you asked earlier. When we actually interview people, we don't look for what kind of things you know already. Instead, are you strong in fundamentals, right? And the academics that you claim, the subjects that you have gone through, you have a basic and fundamental knowledge, and after that we go and look at your application uh, kind of thought process. Like, okay, you studied something theory, and then if I give a problem to you, can you able to apply that concept to that, right? So conceptual fundamental knowledge is quite important, right? So once you have those ingredients, it's very easy to learn anything, right? So we learned Go whenever there is an opportunity for us to develop, and we learned C, we learned microcode, we learned C++, we wrote some code in Java, and we write our all the automation in Python. This, like in a career, you keep learning that, and once you have the fundamental conceptual knowledge, it's very simple to learn anything else. Okay, so there is nothing completely unique. Well, for example, you take Python and Go. Python, once you learn Python, once you practice something doing in Python, and learning Go is very simple. It's
Correct.
kind of improvement. Let's take, for example, you know only C at this moment, but you want to learn Python. It's very so simple that you can able to easily do, because as long as you are fundamentally strong and your conceptual knowledge is good, you can able to see through the concepts in other programming language. End of the day, all these programming languages are basically to implement some theoretical problem to make it practically possible, right? So that's the way we look at it.
Sir, that's what I understand. Is like first thing you should strong your computer science fundamentals. Another thing is rather than running behind different languages, I think we should focus on implementation part or problem solving part.
Absolutely.
Sir, this switch thing, that it is job switch or role switch. Sir, what is the ideal time? So, because in recent days, what I feel, ki people is like, okay, you are getting double salary, just move out. Sir, this is happening a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, I have two thought process in this. Okay, I have not changed much, right? So Since 2003, directly, indirectly, as I said, I've been working only for Cisco. I never thought that I should change a company. The reason being, in Cisco, where I work for, it's a company of companies, right?
Correct.
So let's say we have maybe 12 or 13 or 14 BUs. And in fact, in my lifetime, I kind of worked in 3 or 4 BUs, 3 or 4 different technology areas, right? But predominantly working for service provider. But I also worked for enterprise. I also worked little bit time on the security aspects of it, like that. Okay, and also the deep packet inspection technologies. But this is how it is. So the career growth, if you are measuring through money, in my opinion, that's not right. Okay. So what generally happens in my experience, I've seen people like, when you start your career, you should focus on the learning. You should focus on the skill that you want to build. That should be your priority, rather than the kind of pay and all this. But obviously, how to choose a company where there is a fair pay as well, for sure. But you don't need to too much run or driven by the money. Let's say if I change a company, yes, you may get 40%, 50%, or 100% sometimes, but it will stop at some point. You have to really look at the longevity of your career. Don't look at the short term. Okay, so that's my experience. Basically, once you start pursuing without really look at too much into money, but keep learning, keep building the skill, then you go to a stage where you don't need to think about that money. Right? That's kind of opportunities that we have in India in the IT sector today, right? So if you are really skilled and you are really suitable for a position, I don't think pay matters. For that matter, any reasonable big size product company or MNC, for that matter. So all you need to make sure that you are there, and you are asking something with that skill, and obviously that will happen automatically. So the people who keep changing in early of the career just for the sake of 40%, 50%, after few years you will be stagnated, because you have not built the strong foundation in a given technology area. You may be kind of a worker who can work on anything. Okay, so but you are not carrying any specific skill to grow in your career, either in terms of leadership or in terms of doing something by one. So my recommendation or my suggestion would be to this: when you join a company, you build your skill, or you will build your experience such a way that after few years you should be able to run your company by yourself. Whether you are doing it or not, secondary, but make sure that your thinking, your thought process is going in that direction. Let's say you start 4 years, 5 years. After maybe, let's say for example, you started a few months back. You can have a goal after 5 years. I want to start a company. I want to run it by myself. Let me learn that in these 5 years in this company. Think about that. Okay, so that kind of skill you can acquire. If it happens, then you can go and start a small startup and then make it success, and then you don't need to really worry about money.
Money, correct.
So that's why don't look at short term, look long term, and building skill, building experience. And when you're working in a big companies, experience the company overall culture, overall product lines, and the business, right? The way company works, and how company transforms the technology and make it available for the world. That's what you need to experience more than just keep looking at money every moment.
Exactly, sir. So the best thing that I learn is like better thinking that way, that if you work for 5 year and work like that, that after 5 year you can start a new company.
Yeah,
But exactly, because after that 5 year, the money you can make, not any hike, any switch can match that money. That is the biggest thing what I feel.
absolutely.
But sir, at the same time, the whole industry is facing layoffs. So, sir, I wanted to know two things. First thing, why this layoffs is happening? Because before 5 year, I think, yeah, 5 year back we are not Do we facing this kind of thing, layoff thing, or is it new?
Maybe, but not at this magnitude, possibly.
Okay. So, sir, why this thing is increased, and how we can keep ourselves safe from this?
So there are two things to look at for this, right? One is, end of the day, everything is driven by business, right? If business is not good, obviously we have to make some corrections to run the business, right? And companies now, every big company is a listed company. There are a lot of stakeholders. There are a lot of investors. We have to make sure that we are meeting the expectations of the investors and stakeholders. That's also quite important, right? And then obviously we have to bring the operational excellence as per the business demand that we have. Let's say if a business is shrinking 10% year on year, obviously our operations should also go down 10% year on year. So obviously we have to make some corrections. That's one aspect to look at it. And is it a company problem or is it a macro problem? Right? Most of the times, it's a macroeconomics problem, maybe geopolitics, or generally for every 5 years or 6 years in a cycle, a world will go a little bit of up and down, right? The economy, the kind of recession or slowdown, whatnot. So obviously, companies face the challenge. So big companies with long lasting of working, the impact will be very less. And some companies, if their business is heavily impacted because of the what's happening around the world, and then they will have to go through a little bit massive uh, layoff or whatnot, right? So that's one aspect to look at. Second aspect to look at is, we will not be doing same thing what you are doing today. That's the truth. If you are doing same thing, then obviously you will disappear.
Definitely.
So take simple example, maybe after 30 40 years before, you if you keep constantly watching Fortune 500 companies, what were the Fortune 500 companies 30 years back? Now how many of they are out of that list?
They
The
didn't.
500 is keep changing. It's because if you are continuously doing, if you want to do continuously what you are doing today, then you will disappear after some time. So you have to transform. And how fast you transform, how well you make the decision making, how well you structure your organization for the transformation to happen, and also how you drive this transformation across the industry. That's what a company may decide. So these are the two things when you look at it. Now, I think we okay. Take for example, automation has kicked in a lot in last 5 to 10 years, and now AI is coming, and AI is really helping in sectors where you don't need to do repeated things. There is no manual intervention required for repeated things. You can able to automate, and you bring intelligence into it, and that becomes very autonomous thing. Like you don't need a person to take care of it. Obviously those jobs will be impacted, but you have to build that. You have to find use cases. That technically what's happening in industry is, the technology is getting spread across to meet every sector for human life to become better. Maybe 20 years back, we were not thinking too much about applying technology to the agriculture. We were not thinking too much about IoT. We were not thinking too much about education sector. Now, everywhere there is a technology spread. Digitalization is happening in a big way, and the breadth is increasing. So there is no question about the employment is getting shrinked. It is about the transforming. The job I do today, I may have to do a different job. Then obviously, whether I'm ready for that or not, depending on that, my role will be required or not is a decision. If I'm not ready for that, obviously I have to take break and acquire the skill and come back. If not this company and some other company, it's industry as a whole. So that's what I define like layoff is a restructuring. It's not really like we are as a whole, We are not shrinking with the employment. We need more people, but we need more skilled people, and also more skilled people in that area where we are taking the transformation.
A person who is ready to innovate things, think in fresh direction, or ready to accept the changes. Just sir, one more thing. Why, or I think I should ask, what is the reason of this diversity hiring? Lot of companies do this. Any specific reason behind this?
Yeah. Maybe it's non-technical, but this is my understanding and assessment. In any country, for economy to grow, you need to have harmony, and you can't have only one section of people working and other section of people taking care of things at home, right? So then the economy doesn't grow, right? And that is one aspect to it. And second aspect is, you can't judge a person without giving an opportunity, right? So you have to create opportunities first and make sure that there is enough diversity in all aspects, coming and working together to bring the harmony in industry. So, and the leadership, especially the women leadership, the initiative that companies took and countries took over a period of time has been really helping industry to move forward. Because another 50% of humans are, acquiring skill and coming, and they are, ready to work. So that's what brings the economy, and that what brings the competitiveness of it. Okay, so that's the reason it's important that we create opportunities. We make sure that we kind of take a calculated calls to make sure we bring the diversity, so that we kind of contribute to the economy as a whole, and also opportunities for everyone to make sure that they come and experience and they become better. That's my assessment in terms of it has to happen.
Yeah, sir, it is literally very unique point of view. I am hearing this thing for the first time. Every lot of people give their own point of view, but this point of view is very unique. Sir, do you think the job openings are increasing at that speed? Because we are seeing that a lot of university who have 4,000 batch of computer science. So do we have that much of opportunity?
I think it's not encouraging someone to just think that I'm going to do job, right? Only a job seeker. And at least we want 20% of people to be a job providers. So you start thinking when you start your academics. Okay, you should be thinking like, I don't want to be a job seeker, I want to be a job provider. When 20% or 30% of people start thinking about that, you will not have this problem, right? Think about, you have 100 students in a class, out of which 10 or 15 or 20 are a job providers. Then all these 100 people are employed,
Employed.
right? So the problem in emerging countries like India is that we have a huge population, and we have to accommodate providing education and employment. But at the same time, we have to improve the industrialization and startup culture, bringing the innovation. Then you can provide more employment. So once you start thinking about, I'm not getting job, it is only 50% of it. 50% is, first of all, uh, whether you are skilled enough to get an employment. Second one is, why you are keep thinking about a job. Why can't you do something for yourself? When the thought process come in, at least 10 out of 100 or 2 out of 100 will be succeeded. Then they can provide uh, maybe 20% more or 50% more employment for the rest. So that culture has to change, especially otherwise we may not able to scale. I agree with you that every year lakhs of graduates are coming out. And is it, if you start thinking only that, okay, Is India providing those many lakhs of jobs every year? It's not, obviously. But at the same time, it's also not true that that these people are going to suffer. First thing is, to give an example, we have been interviewing. There was one best example that I took 8 months to fill two positions in Cisco.
8 months.
8 months. Those recs were there open for 8 months. We interviewed 47 people, out of which we are not able to make any decision. Okay, so that means clearly there is a skill gap. Your academics versus what industry needs, there is a clear skill gap. Okay, until unless we fill this skill gap, it's very difficult. So probably IITs, NITs, they do, but at the same time, the mass graduates also coming from different languages, different colleges in different states and different sectors. So throughout, the fundamental problem in India today is the skill building. People are not skilled enough to claim that I can do something in the industry and claim for unemployment. That's the fundamental problem.
What do you think? Job opportunity will increase or decrease after coming AI?
It should increase uh, because last 20 years at least we have been keep discussing the same. This is a pretty much same discussion we had 10 years back when automation was coming in. Everything was automation, industrial automation, IoT, even in product companies, there is a way to automate. Then obviously people thought that, okay, we lose jobs. But you are not actually losing job. You are changing your job. The way you work will be changed. The skill that is required for you to continue employment is different. You have to just acquire the skill. It's not like a government employee, like you start a particular job and you end your job only doing that, right? In 20 years, 25 years, or 30 years, how much your experience or your retirement age, right? So you will be keep doing same thing. But industry doesn't work like that, right? So you will be, industries keep transforming, and you will be transforming to be part of the industry. Otherwise, you will be out of the industry. So that is exactly the problem. And when in 2000 or 2001, when we actually started our careers, it was the same discussion from some segment of the people that a computerization will make a lot of people jobs to go out, right? But really, no. If this transformation has not been there, then imagine that how countries like India situation would have been. So it's not like that. So always, like, AI brings the efficiency and brings technology to spread in other areas where you see more and more opportunities coming. You simplify. End of the day, technology should help to make our lives easy, right? In every aspect of life, AI is going to be part of it, and there is a huge transformation. It takes years going forward, and all these years there is going to be lot of work and lot of employment that's going to generate. But you have to, you're just that what you are doing today, you may not be doing tomorrow. The change is as simple as that. It's not like you're losing job today. You may lose job today because you are doing something which is not required, but you can acquire a skill which is required for tomorrow, and then again you will be part of the industry.
So we need to keep updated. So okay, in one word or one sentence, you may take two sentence also. Sir, in one word, you have to describe your work style. One word you have to choose.
Yeah. So work hard and work smart and keep team along with you.
Okay.
That's my style.
So this is after becoming director or from starting?
Anytime.
Okay. Sir, how do you stay updated with the latest thing?
Keep learning, and keep learning from. Okay, just to summarize quickly, I always spend a lot of time with the people, right? So from senior managers or senior tech leads or PEs all the way to grade 4. The reason is that you can find something to learn from everyone, from grade 4 to upper grades, all that, right? So keep learning, keep talking to people, and understand how industry is changing. Okay, in one word, the answer is keep learning.
Our next question is, what is the best career decision you had made?
Yeah, obviously, when I was doing my plus one, plus two, right,
Okay.
I was thinking about becoming a teacher. After graduation, finish BAD and then become a teacher.
Okay.
The computer science knowledge was not that uh, uh, spread across in the society, right? Only maybe very a few people know about computer science, right? But after my graduation, then I started thinking I should do computer science. That's why I did masters in computer science. So that was my best
Decision.
decision I ever
Okay.
did. Especially transformed myself, and a lot of things that I could see now, I was not thinking that they are kind of possible.
Okay. Definitely, sir. This is the best decision, at least from teacher to director. Sir, what is the biggest misconception about leadership in engineering leadership, basically?
In any company.
Any company. We can't be specific in this.
And the misconception pursued by engineers about leadership.
Sir, I think we should do both. Engineer point of view also, and manager, or like the person by itself also.
Okay, so okay, maybe let me try to answer. uh, See, the leadership is basically decision making, right? You have to make certain decisions to make sure that the business runs as usual, as expected, and sometimes you have to take tough calls for business to continue. So maybe there it is, sometimes it's very difficult to be very very transparent to the extent possible. At least my leadership is, I want to be more transparent, but sometimes it's very difficult to bring the transparency to a level when you want to actually take tough decisions. So then the rest is left to the individuals, their interpretation, and they may think different ways about this decision is wrong or this decision is right, or there is a partiality, there is a lot of stuff, right? So but in general, any leader, in my opinion, when they grow to a stage where they are the final decision makers or key decision makers, their job is very very tough and very difficult, and a lot of data to be reviewed, consumed, and then sometimes it's more emotional before come to a conclusion. And believe every leader, uh, they want to be 100% sure that their decisions are right. They work towards that, but still sometimes we may miss. But that's the life. That's how we need to take it forward.
Okay, sir. So next question is, sir, what is the most rewarding part of being a leader in a tech company?
I think we are in the industry where we are transforming the world. We are changing the people's life, the way they live, and the kind of change that we are bringing in everyone's life. It's not that earlier technology was known to a few people. Now, after the transformation, now mobile is there everywhere, in everyone's hands almost, right? So the majority of people are experiencing the technology that we brought together in industry for the last 20 years. And second one, now this is also transforming the poor people, the way they live. there are two aspects to it, right? So, being a leader in industry, we are at least a part of bringing this change, changing the life of every human being as part of this transformation. So that is one important thing. Second important thing is we are utilizing the resources very effectively and we're creating the wealth. Once you create a wealth, you can able to distribute that wealth to the people who are not able to contribute at this moment, but you can bring them to certain level. Let's you take companies as part of CSR activity. How much you are contributing to the society, to the poorest to the poor, and to the academic, to the institutions and to schools and to the homeless people. There is a lot happening. So that's what more excited leaders like us when we actually part of this industry and be part of this change or the transformation.
Okay, sir. So, sir, one question. If not, I think you already answered, but still I will ask. If not in tech, what would you been doing?
Other than tech, I am more interested to do agriculture because I came from agriculture background family.
Okay.
That's one. And I am also more interested in general politics.
Geopolitics
General
or
politics,
general politics?
politics in general. Uh, uh, Maybe like not today's politics, but at least a few years back politics, like maybe 20 years, 30 years of politics of it. There were a lot of people who came with passion and they came to do service, not to earn money, who actually changed a lot of people's life with the policy decisions that they brought to this country. So maybe either of one would have been, but obviously I would have probably doing agriculture.
Okay. So, sir, what is one habit that has contributed most to your success?
Maybe transparency is what I always look for to be, and the second one would be like one of the hobbies of mine is cricket. I play cricket. I played cricket heavily during my school and early college days. It taught me like a team play, right, and the strategy decisions, changing the decisions depending on the situation, how to like bring as a team. Everyone is not a superstar, but you bring team together and make it win. So right, so that's where we learned a lot in terms of how do you build teams, how do you kind of make the capabilities of each one for the towards the success. So that taught me a lot in terms of leadership. I feel that some of the uh, leadership activities that I practice every day probably would have learned from that era of when I was playing cricket. Sometimes I relate back any decision that I take, how I would have done it if the situation is like I was playing a game of this situation, that okay, some bowler was bowling and then batsman was keep beating him, and how to bring his morale. Still he's talented, but maybe the time and the situation, maybe a lot of conditions, the pitch or whatnot, right? So a lot of things, but how do you still keep his morale up, and then but still make a decision that change the bowler to someone else, right? So like that there are a lot of things. If you read that entire practice of that game, I think you can learn a lot in the leadership.
So basically, sir, sportsmanship is equally important.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, sir, your favorite gadget you can't live without.
I'm not big fan of using gadgets, but mobile.
Sir, mobile other than mobile. Mobile is so very obvious that no one can live without mobile.
TV, I watch TV.
Acha, you watch TV. So if your second most important gadget is TV.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. So, sir, if you could solve one global problem with technology, what would it be?
Okay, maybe I choose most suffering industry, and most of the people are heavily depending on it. at this moment in India is agriculture,
Agriculture, yes.
right? So a lot of direct and indirect dependencies on agriculture, and agriculture has gone tremendous trouble over years because of the climate change. And the people who are doing agriculture have not transformed. They have been doing what they were doing 30 years back, or what they were doing, their fathers were doing, their grandfathers were doing. So it's pretty much same, that has not changed. And now we have to learn that and apply technology into two aspects. One, with the small scale, but build a more productive outcome, right? For example, in acre, if we can get a yield of, let's say, 10 tons, use technology and how you can bring 30 tons, so that agriculture becomes profitable. That's one aspect. Second biggest problem today is the marketing. There is no transparency in the marketing. People who produces, end of the day who consumes, there is a huge gap in terms of the pricing. Let's the farmer who sells a product at 10 rupees, the consumer is buying from the market at 50 rupees. So where this 40 rupees is going, right? So that has to be changed, and I'm sure technology can change it. I think that is happening already in some form, because now there is a producer to consumer direct connect through your mobile app. Now everybody is using apps, and there is a supply chain setup, but it has to be done. And going rural, maybe. And another aspect I look at it is the connectivity of the rural. We have to have a very better connectivity to the rural people, so that they get every information about what we are knowing at this moment.
My last question is, sir, how to become a good software engineer? And when I can say, okay, now I am a good software engineer? This is the question.
Yeah, so first of all, you need to have two aspects to it, and two assessments: your self assessment and third party assessment. Third party could be your mentor, it could be well-wisher, it could be manager, everyone for that matter, right? So in industry, the common problem that what we see is, I always believe I am doing great job, right? uh, it could be because of the expectation set on me, or I may be comparing with someone and thinking that I am much superior, I am doing great job, right? And make sure that what how to define it's a great job, and how to relate that it's a great job, right? So the thing is, you have to have a conversation and make sure that you understand the expectations, and you are actually working towards it, make that impact. That's one. Second important aspect to look at is, take the peer feedback, take the mentorship, and understand. And no one is perfect, and obviously you will be keep improving yourself. That's how you can become better and better, right? So this is very important. These two aspects are very important. So you may be good in one aspect, but in industry, to be very successful, you need to be good in multiple aspects. So depending on the context, you have to understand what are those multiple aspects, and then you form yourself that how you are making progress in those multiple aspects. Then you will really be a very good engineer or leader in the industry.
And sir, how we can climb the ladder of this corporate world?
Yeah, so growth is quite it's like very simple in my opinion, because this is industry respects uh, your ability, respects your thought process, and no one is going to stop you have something. Okay, earlier maybe in 80s or 90s, it was very difficult for some idea to be productized, and getting the funding or getting something, right, getting buy-in. But now you have many forums within company, outside of company, within the circle of the technology areas, many forums where you can have your thoughts sold, and you can make it really working. So with that aspect, what is important is, You have to think about how I'm going to be better for tomorrow, not just that how I am good today. So industry doesn't respect what you have done. Industry respects what you are going to do. It's very very important. You would have been a very great guy till yesterday, but if industry feels that, thinks that you are not good for the future, then you are not there. Okay, so industry respects what you're going to do, not what you have done, how good you are, but how good you are going to be. So that's where, so that means you have to be forward looking. You will always be learning and building skill in terms of what is required for future.
Sir, we literally got lot of things. So, sir, can do you want to say any final message to our audience?
Absolutely. I think the topic is more fascinating and quite exciting for me as well to talk with Shivam today. And thank you very much for giving me opportunity to be here. All I can say is trust that the transformation of industry is going to take us along, and we have to be more skillful, and you have to keep working hard and think many ways to build your smart skill and be very collective and cooperative way of working with your teams and with the industry. So don't ever think that you want to be Xylo, then you will be left out. You have to be part of the team. You have to work with the group. We have to work with the bigger industry. Then your success is multifold than whatever you want to achieve individually. So that's the kind of message I would like to pass to everyone today.
थैंक यू सो मच गाइज फॉर वॉचिंग टिल द एंड. आई होप आपको काफ़ी कुछ सीखने को मिला होगा. एंड वी आर प्लानिंग मोर गेस्ट फॉर यू टू ऐड मोर वैल्यू इन योर लाइफ. सो प्लीज़ सब्सक्राइब अवर चैनल ताकि आप हमेशा हमारे साथ अपडेटेड रह सको. एंड इफ़ यू वॉन्ट टू गिव अस एनी सजेशन, comment section is open for you. And again, thank you so much for watching us.